Now we have Dan Markel's divorce attorney, and he's going to give some insight and a peek into what was going on behind the scenes with this divorce between Dan and Wendi, and how Wendi may in the future be implicated in Dan Markel's murder. Check this out. Listen to what the honorable attorney Stephen Webster has to say. Here we go.
So I kind of shied away from really taking on any family law cases. And my father-in-law, I worked with my father-in-law, and he was kind enough to let me do his pro bono family law cases when they came in, when the Tallahassee Bar Association sent them to him. He was kind enough to let me do those, which was how I went up against Miss Bailey. But so my friend called me and told me that he had a case that he thought I would kind of be the perfect person for. And I think he knew, me representing a law professor would offer some probably real esteem to my fledgling firm.
Mm-hmm.
So, I told him, well, Tor, I don't do family law. And he said, you don't have to worry about it. He's a law professor. He'll teach you everything you need to know. I said, well, that's probably a good thing. So I said, well, I'll meet with him. And so I read all of the pleadings. We were going to have coffee on Tennessee Street. And I decided I was not going to take the case. It seemed to me as if the litigants were drafting the papers more so than the lawyers. I don't want to practice that way. Two,
yeah, that's no good.
The idea of representing a law professor who was accused of contempt and was pointing the finger back in the other direction was not a prospect that was very appealing to me. I quote my fees on how much I'm going to stress over your case. That's literally how I quote fees. And the idea of seeing a law professor possibly get disbarred and almost certainly face the prospect of losing his job as a law professor, given the stress on ethics that law schools have, and we're hammering all of the students. If all of a sudden their law professors are held in contempt or dinged for submitting fraudulent pleadings, I was like, that's just not something I want to be affiliated with.